All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here, and I'm bringing you my reaction, my thoughts about India's T20 win against New Zealand in the first of this short T20 series. There's going to be 3 matches in all, which I guess is not really short. That's not too bad. But there was a 5-matcher earlier in the year with England. This was a match that India and Indian fans needed, right? To make us feel better about ourselves, for crying out loud, with the debacle of what happened at the World Cup. India was playing against New Zealand. Obviously, they won by, 5 wickets. And it was close, okay? It was close. On a pitch that they said averaged about 163, it just about did that. It averaged 165 with the 2 scores averaged today. So pretty true to what it was. It could be a high-scoring pitch, high-scoring wicket. This is something that India needed, okay? And New Zealand, they played well. New Zealand always plays well. They're always tough. I was saying on the stream, they're like India's kryptonite, for crying out loud. No matter what the format is, they always give them their best. And New Zealand's missing a lot of players to the rest. So is India. And you had these 2 teams that were still gutting it out, fighting it out, trying to get the first win in this tour of India. But man, did India need this, because you got the new game, the first game with the new captain. And we're assuming Rohit's going to be the T20 captain moving forward. I'm not sure I ever saw any press release saying that officially. We're assuming that. And so far, so good. 1 game, 1 win. But it wasn't like a beautiful win for India. It was close. And it was a lot closer than it needed to be. They needed 38 in the death. They were able to get 40. But they only had 2 balls left. So it really, really was close. I don't think this was the prettiest game on either side, but it's something that India needed to build some confidence on. You had some newer players in there that I don't know if they got the confidence they wanted, right? Chapman definitely did for New Zealand. Let's start with New Zealand. Chapman and Guptill, absolutely phenomenal. Daryl Mitchell goes down to golden duck by Bhuvi, and it's up to these guys. They get a 100 partnership without even blinking, for crying out loud. They score a little more. Chapman doesn't go down to the 14th over, and then Guptill doesn't go down to the 18th over. But when Chapman goes down 110 combined, and since Mitchell didn't combine, they had a 110 partnership. And Chapman was the slogger between the two, because Guptill at one point was like 19 for 19. And then he went off 70 for 42. So New Zealand put together an innings. They were in the 13th over, 14th over with only 1 wicket loss, and that was in the very first over. And they were just cooking. I just kept saying to myself, need a wicket, need a wicket, need a wicket, need to break up this partnership. You can't allow them to get to the death. Not that partnership in the form it was in. And Ashwin provided one of the biggest turning points in this match, if not the biggest, with that wicket that he collected from Chapman in the 14th over. That was a huge wicket, because then he takes Phillips' wicket on a duck a few balls later. That was a huge over by Ashwin. Ashwin came in there and showed him why he needs to be on the squad. Whenever he's healthy, whatever the format, he needs to be in there, because all I see is this guy perform internationally. That's all I ever see. This guy is absolutely fantastic, and he provided the moment for India that they needed. A moment that they didn't have against Pakistan or New Zealand in the T20 World Cup tournament. They didn't have that moment against a really, really good team. And then New Zealand, after they were able to get Guptill's wicket, they were just done for crying out loud. The scoring in the death for New Zealand was really shocking to me. All right, really, really low. So let's go by this. Let's see how many runs they got in each over. They got 7 in the last over, then 5, so that's 12, 20. Then they got 14 in the 17th, not too bad, so that's 34 and 7. But it was really the last 3 overs. The last 3 overs, they got a combined 20 runs. That was huge for India, because we've seen, that was in the UAE, I get this is Jaipur, this is different. But we have seen these huge death totals. Not this time, ladies and gentlemen. And again, that was another huge difference. India in the death, let's see what they got. So they got 11 of those 4 balls with all the wides and everything included. And then 17 together, 22. So they got 22 the last 3 overs. Jeez Louise. They only got 2 in the 17th. Oh, my goodness gracious. 24. And they got 15. 39. So look at that. It was pretty close, actually, with those two sides. The death bowling was really, really good. The death batting wasn't as good as you'd want it to be, but still 40, 50 runs or so is not bad. You would love to get 50 runs. But I digress. New Zealand, from what I was watching, they looked like they were very comfortable at the crease in that partnership, and you needed something to disrupt it, and you got that from Ashwin. That was huge. And then talking about India's second innings. So bowling-wise, you got 2 from Bhuvi, wicket-wise, and 2 from Ashwin. Absolutely huge. Best spinner of the day for India was Ashwin. Best pace of the day for India was Bhuvi. And it was nice to see that from Bhuvi. He only had one wide. It was really nice and refreshing to see that from Bhuvi. I've seen Bhuvi do really, really well in a previous T20 against England, and now we've seen against New Zealand. Hopefully he can pick up on that, and he can continue with that and let these good performances stack up upon each other. Hopefully he's not pulled in the next match for whatever silly reason, and he goes again because you need him because he's in good form right now, low economy rate. And then India had their batting innings. And KRL, Rohit Sharma, did not skip a beat from the last 3 matches in the World Cup. They were 50 partnership rather quickly. Unfortunately, KRL goes down, and that was a great ball by Satner. Got him on, I think, Satner's first ball of the match. But that opening partnership is huge. They really discovered something, the two of them, in the World Cup, and they carried it forward here. Sharma got 48, but the man of the match, the other turning point in this match was Sky's innings. Gabe's losing his mind, saying, Sky, baby, somewhere. Losing his mind, had a strike rate of 155, highest strike rate for anyone that saw more than 2 balls, 62 runs. He got bowled out by Bolt, but he really solidified things. And this, to me, was a huge turning point on their batting innings because typically you have Kohli that comes in at 3, and Kohli the last year and a half, whether you like him or don't like him, you got to admit he hasn't been as consistent as he usually is. Which I'm sorry, that's unfair expectations, but you see what you see. And so to have someone come in at 3 and give you a really high-scoring innings and not go down for like 12 on like 16 balls or something, but get 62 runs on 40 balls, that was absolutely huge. It brought everyone's nerves down, and they still almost lost this match. Pont was with a strike rate 100. He didn't lose his wicket, but he didn't contribute as high as you want him to, but he got 2 big boundaries. Shreyas Iyer went down quickly, and then my man Venkatesh Iyer, I knew this was going to happen. I said on the stream, he's probably going to go down for 3. He went down for 4. He got him his typical boundary, and then he got out on the very next ball that he saw. And that was absolutely unfortunate because I was hoping that Iyer can build upon what happened in the IPL. He can build upon the fact that he was invited to the World Cup. He didn't get any time. And it doesn't surprise me because you got to get your feet wet somehow. I think this was his debut. So that's pretty cool that he got the debut out of the way. He did get a debut boundary. As far as the bowling goes for New Zealand, they still got monsters out there like Loki Ferguson. He got injured at some point in the World Cup. He still comes up and gives a booby performance, just doesn't have the 2 wickets. Trent Bolt was an animal. With the exception of 1 over, he was an absolute animal. Got 2 wickets, economy rate of 7.8. It really could have been the 4s, ladies and gentlemen, because he was a monster after that first over. In that first over, and you thought moving forward, like, oh no, they were able to get him in, I think it was the second over maybe, they were really able to get to him. But he was still strong. Mitchell Satner, low economy rate with the wicket. Daryl Mitchell, he got a wicket in the 4 balls that he bowled, which was still pretty cool. And Southey got himself a wicket. Southey was a little off today. As the captain, King Williamson's resting, so he takes over as captain. Southey was a little off, in my opinion, with the bowling. He wasn't as dominant as he usually is throughout the duration of it. And I think that really played into India being able to barely squeak by. This was not a demolition match. This was not winning by a whole bunch. This was a close match that India, they had in hand after Ashwin got those 2 big wickets. I believe the momentum went to their side, and it was just about not messing it up. And every time I saw the score, whether they needed 30 out of 30 balls, 23 out of 23 balls, they just kept kind of goofing around and not really bringing it home. until that last over where they were able to get those 11 runs in the 4 balls, including the extras, and really able to take it. And so you have a big win for India. You got the new regime, so to speak, with the captain and some different players because their players are resting. And you have some great footing right here, something to build off of. I do think that there's some, I'm not going to overreact this one match, but I do feel like there was a different feel for the players when they were fielding and when they were batting. Just a different feel. It felt different to me. It really, really did with Rohit Sharma's captaincy. I'm not going to make any crazy claims about who's better and who's worse, all that kind of stuff as captain, but it seemed different. And this seemed like a match that India was going to blow at the end, and they were able to pull it off at the end. Very, very impressive to me. It was something that I needed to see after the extreme frustration of them just not showing up in the World Cup. But India wins this match. They win by 5 wickets. Things are good again. We'll see what happens on Friday. CFA should be streaming the entire match. I got a doctor's appointment later on, so I'm able to take that day off of work. Let us know what you think about this match. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. And until next time, ouch, adios.